Hello there, Coach Pilardi here, CAD Level 6 in our series of using Onshape for Vex Robotics. Today's topic is leveraging other projects. In Level 5, we looked at how to bring in parts from a parts library, and we brought in all the parts we needed to make a wheel assembly. And the wheel assembly is something we had built before, and at the end of the video at Level 5, we said, couldn't we have just brought in that whole assembly? And the answer is yes, and that's what we're going to do today. So let's start off by creating an empty project again. We're going to call it Level 6 Work. Of course, you can call yours whatever you want. All right, so I got an empty project again, and I got to do something with it. And now I'm going to start inserting parts, and I'm going to start with inserting an entire wheel assembly. And there is the 4-motor drivetrain. Let's look at that. It says no parts available. How about assemblies? There we go. Okay, we wanted that wheel assembly. And so we're bringing it in. And there it is. That was quick. So much faster than starting from scratch. We brought in all the parts at once, and everything is pre-assembled. Plus, if the assembly we brought in was already working, then we don't have to worry about making mistakes if we assemble it all again. Okay, your turn. Go ahead and create a project and import that wheel assembly from the basic 4-motor drivetrain project. Okay, you got it? Good job. So now I can create a whole new robot that uses the same assembly. But what if I'm making this new robot and I decide I want to change the assembly just a little bit? Maybe I want to make the drive sandwich a little bit narrower. I could make it a 1/2 inch narrower if I took those 3/8 spacers out and replaced them with 1/8 spacers. Let's take a closer look at the 4-motor drivetrain. See all that space on each side of the wheel? I could take a 1/4 inch out of there on both sides easily. Okay, here's that assembly we imported. We want to remove these 3/8 inch spacers and replace them with 1/8 inch spacers. So let's delete these first. No delete option in the menu. What's going on there? Okay, I know what it is. The whole assembly was imported from another project. It was created in that other project, and if you want to modify it, you have to modify it in that other project. This doesn't make much sense in Vex, but it does in manufacturing. Let's say I'm building tractors, and there's a part that I've outsourced to a company in Europe. Okay, so they own that design. I can't just change my copy of it. Onshape does provide a way to get back to the original document. There it is, update link document. So if you click on that, it would open the original design. You can make your changes there, and after you save it, those changes would be replicated to your other projects that used it, including this one. Onshape has some sophisticated version management tools like that, but we don't really need them for Vex. All we wanted to do was make a copy of that wheel assembly, and then we wanted to be able to make changes to it. The changes we're making have nothing to do with the original design anymore. They're not related anymore. Okay, so we're looking for a way to import our assembly and then make changes to it without affecting the original design. We want our own independent copy. Let's see if we can do that. There's no option to do that as you're importing the part, but you can copy the parts once you get them into your own assemblies. So let's try that. We're going to select everything here and then right click and say copy. Copy 83 items. That seems like a lot. Then paste 83 items. Okay, it worked, except what is all this part 27? What? Look at that. Each little part on the Omni wheel became a separate part when I pasted it. That didn't work. So when you grab everything like this to do in copy and paste, you get all the atomic parts. Every little part gets pasted independently. We don't want that. What we can do is select the individual parts that are inside the wheel assembly and copy those. Copy. When I paste it, it says there's 9 items. Perfect. Okay, so I got 9 items over here. Wait, hold on. Pause the video. Let's get you caught up. All right, you got that? Good job. And what I want to be able to do is move this one separately. Okay, I see another thing that has to change. The reason why these are all still linked together is because there's a mating feature called a group, which I'm going to explain in a minute. But for now, we're just going to delete that group, and I'm going to show you that now I can move these parts separately. So, and I can actually delete this part now too, which is what I wanted to do before. I wanted to delete that part. So I deleted one. I'm going to show you a shortcut because actually I don't want to delete it. I want to replace it. I'm going to say Control Z here. I'm going to undo my changes and move that back. And instead of deleting it, I want to replace it. So there's an option in here for replace, I think. There it is, replace instances. Okay, I'm going to click on this. It says replace all instances. And I'm going to select a new component, and I have to go to my parts library to get it. So I want a 1/8 inch spacer. Let's find it in here. 1/8. There it is. Okay, so there they are. I kind of wish it would have put them right where the other ones were, but we'd have to move them around anyways because they wouldn't be in the right location on the shaft. So now that we have the right parts, we can go ahead and connect everything together. Let's see how fast we can do that. How's that for fast? Fantastic. Now we have our own version of that wheel assembly that's much narrower. Okay, your turn. Pause for a minute. You got it right. Good job. We're ready to move on. Another way to save time by leveraging existing projects is to start by making a copy of another project. Here's that basic 4-motor drivetrain that we've looked at quite a bit. Let's say I want a new drivetrain that's identical to this, except it only uses 2 motors and has a chain that connects the front and back wheels. Instead of starting from scratch, I'm going to make a copy of this 4-motor drivetrain model and start with that. When you copy a workspace like this, it is independent from the original design. You can change whatever you want and you don't have to worry about versioning. Alright, so I've made a copy of the 4-motor drivetrain and I've renamed it to Level 6 Chain Drive. Alright, now we can make changes to it. Let's start by taking a look at the wheel assembly. We know we're going to have to add a sprocket to that. We'll probably have to move those spacers around. Might have to shift the shaft over to one side. Do we have enough space for a sprocket there? Looks like we do. It's going to be tight, but I think we can fit it. Before we do anything else, now would be a good time to pause the video and get you caught up. Now you have your own Level 6 project. Good job. Alright, we need to make a bunch of changes to this wheel assembly. We're going to have to add some parts and remove some parts and then connect everything together. Not a big deal, but it might take 10 or 15 minutes. Before we do that, maybe it'd be a good idea to see if anybody's created a wheel assembly like this before. Let's do a search across all documents for something named Sprocket Wheel Assembly. Oh, and what do you know? It looks like there's a project out there with that exact name. Oh, and it has a wheel assembly too. That might be exactly what we need. Let's bring it into our project and check it out. Looks like it's going to be a good fit. Almost like somebody put it there for us. It's a right size wheel. The shaft is the same length. Spacers have been moved around. It looks like there's different shaft collars, but it looks like this is going to work. And now we have a sprocket wheel assembly in our project. Now would be a good time to pause and get you caught up. Make sure your wheel assembly tab looks just like this, with only the new sprocketed wheel assembly there. Got it? Good job. Let's see how those changes to the wheel assembly affected the rest of the project. Here's our drive sandwich. Our resolute mates are broken now because they were connected to a spacer that's no longer part of the wheel assembly. So we need to reconnect those. We can do that by editing the resolute mate and selecting the sprocket and then attaching the sprocket to that bearing plate where the spacer was connected before. That rubber shaft collar was a little bit hard to select a surface where we wanted to mate it with that bearing plate. So I want to make sure there's enough space between the shaft collar and the bearing plate. Looks like it's too tight, so I'm going to offset that connection by a little bit. Let's say 0.05 inches. That's better. Now the same process to attach the other wheel assembly. Got it. Alright, see if you can do the same thing. Be patient with trying to select an edge on those rubber shaft collars. It is a little bit hard to find the right edge there. Good job. Ready to move on. Alright, let's see how those changes look on the chassis. Looks pretty good. The next thing we need to do is remove the 2 front motors. That's actually a change to the inside drive rail. All we need to do is remove 1 motor here, plus the bolts that were holding it on. Alright, let's see how that change looks on the drive sandwich. Good. And how about the drive train? A little problem there. 1 motor's in front and 1 motor's in back. I'll have to flip the drive sandwich over, but that should be the only change I need to make. Let's pause for a second here and get you caught up. Just delete that motor 2 on the inside drive rail. That should have been quick, and now you're ready for the next step. We have to flip that whole side of the drivetrain, and it's going to be easier if we move it out of its current position first. So let's do that. We need to connect a hole on the C channel of that drive rail to a hole on that L bracket on the chassis. Let's hide one of those spacers so that we can get right to the hole on that L bracket. So the hole that we want to connect the C channel to is going to be on the outside bracket on the bottom of it in the back. So let's select the right one here. That's it. Alright, we got that selected for our connection. Now we need to go back to the connection on the L channel. There it is. And we got it connected. It doesn't look right yet because it's upside down and backwards. But let's turn it around first. There we go. Now flip it over. That's it. And solve it, and the wheels go back. Beautiful. Okay, your turn. Although there are not a lot of steps, this can be a complicated connection. Be patient. Did you get it? If not, go back and watch the last couple minutes of the video. You can do it. Good job. Look at that drivetrain. That's fantastic. Almost done. One more thing we need to talk about are groups. We touched on groups earlier. I said I would explain them. We're going to do that now. A group in Onshape is a type of mate. Kind of like a fastener, except it holds multiple pieces together. Select multiple items and say group. This is the group icon. Okay. Everything stays together now when I try and move it. And since we didn't test that before I created the group, I'm going to remove the group by undoing it and just show you that the parts were not going to stay together before. So we're going to undo that. We've been using groups a lot already, although you may not realize it. Each of the sub-assemblies typically has a group that holds everything together. This wheel assembly is a little bit different because it came from an external project and it's still being versioned in that other project. But even so, I can see that there's a mating feature here for the wheel assembly. The outside drive rail is all mated together. So is the inside drive rail. The drive sandwich is not. And there's a reason for that. Let's take a look at these resolute connectors. So I can run the animation now and it works fine. Now remember that a group is really another type of mate. So what's going to happen if I mate this whole assembly together when there's already pieces that are mated as resolute connections? Notice that the mating features are all red. There are errors. I cannot do that. I cannot have the same pieces mated twice. And now when I try and animate those connections, it doesn't turn the wheel, it just does something weird. So it doesn't make sense to have a group here because these are already grouped together. Each of the wheel assemblies is. This side of the drivetrain is, and so is this side. So they're already in pretty chunky pieces, so we don't need to group those. What about the chassis? Alright, we're going to select the whole chassis now and group it. We're going to call it chassis. Okay. And now we're going to try and do that spin test again. So on drive sandwich 2, I'm going to animate it. And I got an error message. It cannot do the animation now that I grouped it. Let's double check here to see if that was the grouping that did it. I'm going to go back here now, animate it again. Okay, now it works fine. So we need to be careful about grouping sub-assemblies that have resolute connections. What we can do though is create a grouping of the chassis that includes everything except for the drive sandwiches. As you're creating a group, it shows you what's going to be included. Just take out the ones you don't want. Now we have a grouping for the drivetrain that has all the new parts. Let's test to see if those resolute connections still work. And they do. Perfect. Okay, pause the video and give it a try yourself. Alright, now you know how to create a group. So a group is a type of mate, and it works just like a fastener. So why not just use fasteners? Why do we need groups at all? Groups do make it a little bit easier to connect multiple parts together, but the main reason for using groups is to improve performance. Very large projects can have hundreds of mates, and having that many mates can slow down a project. When performance degrades, the user interface will feel kind of choppy, and in a worst case scenario, you could get a resource error. In the sample drivetrains that we've been working with, the sub-assemblies all have groups, but they originally had a lot of different fasteners in there. And all those fasteners were removed and replaced with a single group mate to improve performance. Alright, that's it for level 6. Leveraging existing projects can save you a whole lot of time. In level 7, we're going to learn some shortcuts that can save you massive amounts of time when you're prototyping.